What was the most shocking thing you heard the quiet kid say? I was best friends with the quiet kid in middle school. It wasn't so much shocking as the stupidest thing I've heard him say. He got this 1,000-yard stare all of a sudden and just said, I can't remember what color my dog is. I don't know why, but I'm crying and laughing so hard at that. Thank you. Playing rugby, hooker fails completely at line out. Someone shouts jokingly, does anyone know any good hookers to replace Patrick? Quietest guy on the team. Never hear him say anything. Maybe Patrick's mum can help. Proceed to fall on floor. Edit. Line out. Line in. It's all the same. As an American who knows nothing about rugby, I thought you were talking about a prostitute and was thoroughly confused as to why a hooker was playing rugby. They're people too. So this one kid, who barely ever said 2 words, one day asks the teacher for the time it was at some after school thing and there was no clock. The teacher says the classic time for you to get a watch, which for some reason was funny to everyone else. The quiet kid doesn't laugh. He looks the teacher dead in the eyes, and once everyone quieted down, he says, so are you gonna tell me the duck in time, or what? We were in like 7th grade. Can't blame him. Can't tell you how many times I've heard that stupid joke. Whenever that happens, just say I'd get a watch if I had the time. One of my students hardly said a word all year until a couple weeks ago. I was trying to get a group of talkative ones under control, and she had enough. She yells out, shut the duck up. Him trying to work, you duck-eyed buttholes. Awkward silence followed, because I didn't know how to handle the normally studious and quiet one losing it. I was like this in middle school. Not exactly quiet, but I never really socialized, except with people right beside me in the form of asking for a pencil. One day the classroom douche happened to be more douche-y than I could stand for, and I stood up out of my seat and yelled at him and sat back down. The entire class fell silent, but he never got that douche-y again. An annoying friend. Dylan, quiet kid, you're so ducking stupid sometimes. Dylan, at least I don't suck massive dick all the time. My name is Dylan and I used to be quiet. I honestly could have said this. Edit. Hey, this is the first time my name has been relevant. Duck yes. This was when I was in my first semester of college 2 years ago. There was this girl who never said a word. The teacher would ask her questions. She would just not say a word. I can honestly never remember her even making a noise. One day the teacher got upset. He felt like she was ignoring him and that she was being disrespectful, so he, like an asshole, said, did no one teach you how to speak? She stood up, walked up to the whiteboard, grabbed his marker, and wrote, I'm mute, you foolish ducker. Apparently no one ever told the teacher that she had a disability, but she was one badass methodica for taking his marker out of his hand and writing that lol. She told him she had a disability. Well, yeah, actually, the teacher kept asking her questions over and over for some period of time, but she never did anything but sit there. She's in college. It's not like it's impossible for her to communicate. Write a note and take it to the teacher at the end of class. Or if she's too embarrassed to do that, send a message through the college's disability office. The teacher should have been informed, but bureaucratic oversight happens. When you're dealing with a class of college freshmen and someone refuses to speak up, the fact that they might literally be mute is probably not the go-to thought. In junior high in the mid-80s, the game Trivial Pursuit was all the rage. We played it in math class one day and this kid, Gary, who never said anything at all, totally spanked everyone else by answering every single sports-related trivia question. He got a lot of attention for it, and I believe he walked a little taller after that day. I don't think I ever heard him say anything else, but I did see him sitting on the bleachers at a few sports events. At school, having just shown me the scope for a supposedly his sniper rifle, if the fire alarm ever goes off and you can't find me, don't use the doors as an exit. Well, he was nice enough to warn you. What if we killed everyone with cancer to stop it from spreading? You finally decide to speak, and that is what you go with. Jesus ducking Christ, what good are you, you mute duck? There was one girl in my school who I've only ever heard speak once the entire time I knew her. It was during lunch and two black kids got into a fight. I heard her say, under her breath, ducking diggers. I'm her. We were chillin' at a bar in Prague and someone rolled up some hash oil and tobacco and passed it around. The quiet kid hid it and got even quieter. 20 minutes later some aggressive, growling black metal comes on and out of nowhere he yells, kill your parents. We duck and lost it. He was pretty happy with himself. I think quiet kid just told you why he was quiet. They thought I was joking. I must never smoke anything again. The quiet kid from my grade stood up one day, grabbed a broom, stood on a chair, and began trying to swat bees that got inside. One bee landed on the window where quiet kid proceeded to yell die bee die and then swatted and shattered the window. He screeched when it happened and then sat back down. Never heard him speak again. Wow, literally this question came at a perfect time. I was just thinking about this, and it was by far in sophomore year of high school. This kid was so odd that honestly no one ever really noticed him. But one day he's sitting across from me at a table, and he sees this one girl in really tight shorts and goes, got a mic out of my head up her ass for months. It was pretty shocking. This could be weird, or really weird, depending on which kind of head he meant. This douchebag kid who constantly ducked with people was in line with the quiet kid and the quiet kid's friend. The quiet kid is a bit overweight, so when he gets up to the lunch lady and gets his chicken nuggets, the douchebag says, you don't want extra nuggets, big guy? The quiet kid out of nowhere just starts ranting, no, I'm all set, but what are you up to this weekend? You wanna hang out, grab some food, maybe duck a bit? I like to be on top and you look like a bottom. What do you say, wanna duck tonight? The entire line is dead silent. The douchebag starts getting all pissed off and acting like has gonna start a fight, and the quiet kid says, okay fine, you can be top baby. The douchebag kid leaves to the entire line laughing their asses off at his expense. No idea if the quiet kid was gay or he just knew that even jokingly suggesting the douche kid was a homosexual would upset him more than anything. But I do know he left the line with his delicious chicken nuggets and a huge smile on his face. In class we were studying genetics, and one guy was being a real douche and the teacher couldn't get him to shut up. Then after discussing inbreeding in dogs, one quiet kid raises his hand and says, so is this likely how Peter Douche became so ducking retarded? I've got a friend like this. I relate him to a sniper rifle. He doesn't make comments like that often, maybe once every month or two, but every one of them is goddamn glorious. It's an art. Most people would then try to carpet bomb the conversation with forced jokes trying to get the same response. We sat in the classroom in I think 5th grade. My friend had done a PowerPoint presentation about Eminem. He talked about that he lived in a trailer as a young boy, and the quiet straight A student stands up and says just like you and asks to use the toilet. No one understood anything of what just happened. We live in North Europe. It's practically no one that lives in a trailer here. My friend didn't. Mom spaghetti. Knees weak, arms spaghetti. But on the surface he is calm spaghetti. Our quiet kid was Tommy. Tommy never said anything ever. Out of all the lunches we ate at our table senior year, I think Tommy was the only one who never told a story or even added anything to the conversation. He just always sat in the same spot along the wall eating his lunch and laughing occasionally at our jokes. One day we were sitting in the cafeteria eating lunch and sharing stories like we always do. My friend Raymond had spent the previous night with a girl named Haley. She was 2 years younger, but already had a reputation of hooking up with a lot of different guys. So he was telling us everything that went down, kind of bragging, even though nobody was really impressed as we were aware of Haley's reputation. Anyways, Raymond gets done telling his story, then proceeds to pull out his sandwich. I think it was some sort of fish. It didn't look very appealing to Raymond or us, so he says this looks disgusting, but I'll give it a try anyways, and proceeds to take a bite. In pipes Tommy, is that what you said about Haley last night? Everyone explodes into laughter, drawing the attention of the entire cafeteria. Raymond is just sitting there, mid-bite, stunned. I'm bent over in pain from laughing. Others are on the floor. One guy ran to the bathroom. because he thought he was going to puke from laughing. Even Ray had to laugh. I never noticed him laugh, but Tommy had this sly grin on his face the rest of the lunch hour. Perfect setup, prefect execution. 10 points. In class he asked the woman teacher if he could go to the toilet. She sternly replied, "You've got 2 minutes, Richard." And Richard says, 2 minutes? It takes me that long to unravel it. Teacher goes red and everyone loses it. He started to attack someone in my class with a table when the teacher got a cup of coffee. That was quite something. Wait, he attacked another guy with a table? That's like a whole new level of pissed off right there. Edit. Apparently tables were/are the weapon of choice for a lot of people. Edit 2. RIP my inbox. Also tables seem to be the weapon of choice for like half of Reddit. Someone once turned to me and said, "Dude, you're always so quiet. Like a serial killer or something." I immediately responded, "Thank you." Looks of shock and horror as I realized what I said. I was the quiet kid in this scenario. I'm a skinny white kid, and I was working at Jimmy John's with a bunch of outgoing and loud black kids. While we were closing, I was doing the dishes and everyone else was doing their jobs. When we would close, they would blare rap music through the restaurant speakers. They would always rap the words and be really loud during the songs. So during one of the songs, when it got quiet, I just yelled at the top of my lungs, "WOOOO, this is my SCHHIT." And then I just went back to doing the dishes. Everyone looked at me as if I had lobsters crawling out of my ears. That quiet kid was me. My boss had brought cheesecake cupcakes. This was my first time having such a delicious treat, and let me tell you what, those cupcakes were best damn cupcake I have eaten to this very day. So out of nowhere, and without thinking, I say, "Hey Amy, these cupcakes are better than sex." From this day forward, her cupcakes were known as sex cupcakes. I was disappointed to hear they weren't called sex cakes. Jeremy. This guy was so silent that we believed he was a mute. The school had just recently painted the bins in all kinds weird styles. As our group was walking somewhere at lunchtime, we passed a bin that was covered in handprints. He offhandedly goes, "That bin is handy," leaving us dumbfounded at his pundum. I was the quiet kid. There was this kid in high school who was trying to bully me at lunch, and for context he was a 21-year-old junior. He kept getting left back every year, for reasons unknown. Him, "Why don't you get out of our country?" Me, "Why don't you get out of high school?" He couldn't think of any response, turned red, and the kids around the table started dying with laughter. I won that day. In high school, I had first level Spanish with this kid, who was super quiet. At the end of the year, we all had to give a speech in Spanish in front of the entire class. This methodica stood up and gave a speech, not in Spanish, but in a language that he had spent the entire year inventing. Freshman innocent quiet girl on the spikes on top of German helmets from the war. They look like painful butt plugs. I went to middle school and high school with this boy named Daniel. Never once heard him say a word. A friend of mine said he would whisper sometimes. The night of our senior party we heard some music coming over from the corner where the karaoke machine was set up. At first no one really noticed him because people had been singing on it all night and most people stopped paying attention. But this was different cause no one was singing and the music was playing. The DJ stopped the music and started the song again. Daniel was standing there looking frightened, but this time around, when the song started he began to sing. Everyone in the room stopped what they were doing and just crowded around him. He wasn't a great singer by any means, but 99% of the people in the room hadn't ever heard him talk. When the song was over everyone started clapping and cheering, and he walked away with a big smile on his face. I was in marching band in HS, probably 7 years ago now, and we had this huge muscular guy as our brass instructor. He would always yell at us to nail these chords or you're not playing loud enough. There was this little Asian trumpet kid that was so innocent and nice, he barely ever spoke a word. One really hot afternoon, our instructor was being especially loud and said, "Why don't the trumpets blow hard enough?" Dead silence across the field as all the brass are waiting for next instructions. Then we hear, "Why doesn't your mom blow this duck hard enough?" from Quiet Trumpet Kid. Needless to say, we all laughed, got push-ups, and laughed some more. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to my channel for more curated daily Reddit stories.